Now the next question is, can you make another video showing your pets? Man, I think Wolfmoon has been asking me this for a good few years now and I keep forgetting to do it. Yeah, I'll definitely make a new video showing my pets. You've already seen all of my pets. The pets that I showed in 2014, plus the rabbit that I showed in 2015, I still have all of those pets and none of them have died or anything, and I haven't received any new pets since then. So you have already seen all of my pets, but I will make a new video for you. If you go onto my Instagram, I don't really post anything on there because I'm not really a fan of Instagram, but I do have a few pictures of my pets. If you go to my Instagram, it's BwolfTheWolf I think, but there's a few pictures of my pets on there if you want to see them. But I'll try and make a video as soon as possible for you, I promise, okay? I've promised now, so I have to do it. Now the next bunch of questions come from Bish Bash Bosh, and that is a sublime name, Bish Bash Bosh. That's from an advert, ain't it? Bish Bash Bosh and the dirt is gone? Maybe? I don't know. But the questions are, what is your favourite season? I think for me personally, I like the summer the best. Because I suffer with depression, during the autumn and winter months, because it's very gloomy, very grey, and because I live in England, very wet, it makes me feel even more depressed than I normally feel. So during the summer months like July and August, that is where I feel at peak Bwolf. So it's going to have to be summer for me. If it did snow more often during the winter, then I think winter might actually take first place. But because it rarely ever seems to snow down here in Essex, it's just boring in the winter. It's just cold and gloomy. So definitely summer for me. Now the next question is, what do you love and hate about YouTube? Now what I hate about YouTube is just how hard it is for new channels and smaller channels to be discovered. Because the way that YouTube works is interactions help your videos to be seen. But to get interactions, your video needs to be seen. So you're kind of stuck in this weird place where you're sort of like, well, what the hell do I do? Do I resort to being a dickhead and spamming my video in the comment sections of other videos, which I would never do? Do I start clickbaiting people? Do I start jumping on the bandwagon of trends that I might not necessarily enjoy, but pretend to enjoy just so I get views? You kind of get stuck in this weird place where you can stay honourable and never get seen, or you become dishonourable, piss off the community, but you get your channel noticed. So you're kind of stuck in this weird place. So I feel like on YouTube, there needs to be more ways for smaller channels to be seen, because it's utterly ridiculous. You've got to rely on interactions, but if you're not seen, you're not going to get those interactions. So you're kind of just stuck. I think the only thing you could genuinely do that will help your channel is to collaborate with other YouTubers. That's probably the only thing you can do really to get your video out there a bit more. But other than that, there's fuck all you can really do to be seen, and I think YouTube needs to find a way of sorting that out. Maybe have a section just for people under 10,000 subscribers or something like that. That would be a very good change for YouTube. Because there's some absolute legends, and I'm not even talking about me, there's some absolute legends with not many subscribers that make sublime content, but they don't get seen, and they're even better videos than mine. Like, they put even more work into their videos because they're not doing gaming videos. They've got like really good talents like singers or dancers, or they like really good at woodwork or something like that. So there needs to be a way for smaller people to be seen on this fucking website, because it's so annoying. I've been uploading for 8 years and I averaged 10 views. Fucking 10. I got more views in 2014 when I had 100 subscribers. I was getting tens of thousands of views back then. I don't know what's going on anymore. And what do I love about YouTube? Well, that is a very easy reply, and that is you guys and girls. That is what I love the most about YouTube. And you might be thinking, shucks Bwolf, you're just saying that because we watch your videos. But it really isn't that, you know, it really isn't that. It's the way that you guys and girls talk to me in the comment sections, the comments that you leave me, the fact that you actually listen to the stuff I say in my videos, and the support that you all gave me after 2019 was nothing short of heroic. You guys and girls are heroes. You have absolutely no idea. You guys and girls are, each and every one of you should pat yourself on the back. I love you all. Even the people that are not subscribed to me, I love you as well. But you should definitely subscribe to me, and I might even give you a cookie if you do. But yeah, that is the thing I love the most about YouTube. My little community right here. I've developed some amazing friendships with some of you guys and girls, and I will forever love you for it. And the last question from Bish Bash Bosh is, what does the B in Bwolf stand for? The B in Bwolf stands for British, because my username for basically anything on the internet was British Wolf. And if I had already used the name British Wolf and I was going to, like, for example, in World of Warcraft, make a second character, I would name myself Bwolf instead. And I got the name British Wolf because when I was a kid, my granddad used to call me a little wolf because of how I used to run around in the forest and stalk around like a little wolf. He used to call me a little wolf. So that's where I got the wolf name from. And the British bit was what I added because, well, I'm from Britain. And English wolf didn't sound the same as British wolf. So I went with British wolf instead. But yeah, B is for British. Now the next set of questions come from Liquid Flav Rave. That is a fantastic name. Liquid Flav Rave. That sounds like a proper wild drink, doesn't it? I could imagine going up to a bartender and being like, "Oh mate, give me some Liquid Flav Rave." Man, that sounds like a wild drink, doesn't it? Or just a really wild club with neon lights everywhere. God damn, that is a good name. Okay, right, there's quite a few questions here. A game you somewhat have played in the last few years that you now consider nostalgic. I think for me, this is going to be a similar answer to why is tea the greatest drink of all time. But I think for me, it's probably Uncharted 3. Because when I came out of hospital back in 2012, I was feeling like absolute shit. And the only games that I had to play at that point was Dark Souls 1, which I got way after it released, like 6 months after it released. I think it was Assassin's Creed Revelations back then. And I was also trying to platinum Stranger's Wrath HD, and I also had Uncharted 3. So I came out of hospital and I was in horrific state. I was just all sorts of weak. I couldn't play Dark Souls because it was too difficult at that point. And then I went on to platinum it a few months later, but I couldn't play Assassin's Creed Revelations because I couldn't deal with the whole stealth stuff. Stranger's Wrath I was trying to play on hard, so I just kept on dying over and over again. So I decided to play Uncharted 3 and it went perfectly. And every time I play Uncharted 3 now, I just get this nice nostalgic feeling in my body. Like, I don't know, it's just something about Uncharted 3. That is definitely the most nostalgic game for me. Like, out of recent games, that is. The next question is, Coke or Pepsi? Probably Pepsi for me. I do like Coke, but I'll definitely go with Pepsi. If you had to listen to one song forever on a loop, what would it be? Oh man. Oh man, there's a lot of options. I feel like whatever song I'm going to say now is purely because it's probably one of the most recent songs I've listened to. But then when I leave this Q&A, I'm going to want to change my answer. But I think at this moment in time, for me, it's probably NF, Remember This. Remember This. NF, Remember This. If you've never listened to it, listen to it. It's a rap song, sublime. NF is level with Eminem for me. I love NF. So go and listen to it. It's a fantastic song. NF, Remember This. I'd definitely listen to that on loop. Now the next question is, when do you think was the true golden age of gaming? I've sort of already answered this question, but for me personally, I would say that the golden age of gaming was most likely the PlayStation 4 era, just because all of the games that I loved from the PlayStation 1 era were remade. They had trophy support. I could start playing Crash Team Racing online finally and facing people all over the world. So all of my favourite games, Oddworld was remade for the PS4, and then you had the absolute bangers that released as PS4 exclusives like Horizon Forbidden West and all those games. So I think probably the PlayStation 4 era for me. I think that was probably the golden age of gaming. And plus the hype for the launch of the PS4 was ridiculous. And then you had all of the back and forths between Microsoft and Sony at E3. It was bloody legendary. Everything about PS4 was just fucking legendary, mate. I loved it. Definitely the golden age for me. Have you ever considered doing some GoPro videos? I did want to get a GoPro for when I was doing my Wolf Quest videos. If you've never seen my Wolf Quest videos, that is when I go out into the wilderness and I challenge myself to find a specific wild animal and capture some stunning footage of them. Similar to like David Attenborough or something like that. But yeah, I never ended up buying one just because I needed to get a 4K one to match my 4K camera, and I think at that time they were just way too expensive, and I was only going to be really using them for Wolf Quest, so I decided not to. But maybe when they get a bit cheaper, I will buy one and I'll use them for some videos. Because having a GoPro is very useful. Stick it on your head, you ain't even got to hold a camera. Sorted. Have you considered live streaming some games, questions, vlogs? I've definitely considered live streaming many times. I feel like it would be a lot more fun to do live streaming, because when you live stream, there's no editing involved, there's no rendering videos, you just jump in front of the camera and you get to talk to your audience live. So I feel like that's a lot more fun than making YouTube videos. But I also like the structure of YouTube videos, you know, and uploading at a certain time every day. I feel like it's a lot more focused when I make YouTube videos, where I feel like live stream will be a bit all over the place. I don't know. But I think if I was going to do live streaming, I would have to quit YouTube, because at this moment in time, I don't have enough time to do both. But, you know, never say never. Maybe one day I'll start doing some live streaming. Like I said, it'd just be nice to talk to some of you live. Not all of you. Some of you are absolute trolls, but most of you, it'd be nice to talk to you. I literally said a minute ago that my favourite thing about YouTube was my community, and now I've gone and called a bunch of you trolls. I apologise. Now the next set of questions are from Gavin and Stacey. Is that a TV show? I swear my cousin watches something called Gavin and Stacey. It's an old programme, ain't it? Huh, I think it is, maybe I'm wrong. Hey boss man. Hey boss man, I have a couple of questions. Who are your top 5 musicians? Okay, top 5 musicians. Number 1 is Eminem. Number 2 is NF. Number 3 is probably... I think number 3 and 4 can be in either order. But number 3 is either Linkin Park or Hopsin. And number 4 is either Linkin Park or Hopsin. I think I'll put Hopsin in number 3 and Linkin Park in number 4, purely because Linkin Park, unfortunately, is unable to release any new music now because, as you all know, Chester Bennington killed himself. So it's not really fair on them, but unfortunately they can't release new music. So Hopsin is slowly going up in the ranks for me because of that. So probably Eminem, NF, Hopsin, Linkin Park, and number 5 can be so many different people. It could be Whit Lowry, it could be Sick World, it could be Juice WRLD, it could be Joyner Lucas, it could be Guns N' Roses, it could be Queen. There's loads of people that could be in the 5th spot, but yeah, my top 4 are definitely those 4. I don't know who I would put in number 5. Maybe, I think it might be Whit Lowry, because I listened to a lot of his music when I was in some really bad places, so probably Whit Lowry for number 5. He's very good, he is. Very underrated. Definitely go and listen to him. And Sick WRLD as well, very underrated. Now the next question is, what do you think is your best trait and worst trait? I think my best trait is probably that I am very loyal. I don't think you would find somebody that is more loyal than me. And I think my worst trait is probably that I am really overprotective to the point where it does cause a lot of problems, especially when it comes to women in my life. If you were like a female friend, or you're a female family member, or if you were my partner, I would be exceptionally overprotective of you. And I try, I'm a lot better at it now thanks to counselling. There is some very serious reasons for this, but I am very overprotective. It is, I don't consider it a problem. I like being overprotective, but I know it can be a nuisance for the person involved, you know. So I do understand that. So I think that's probably my worst trait, being overprotective. Now, if you're wondering why I'm suddenly wearing a different jumper, it's because I forgot to answer this question yesterday, so I'm doing it now. But the final question from Gavin and Stacey is, what's your view on PlayStation exclusives releasing on PC? I hate it. I think if Sony continue to release PlayStation exclusives on PC 3 or 4 years after their release, if they continue to do that, then personally it doesn't really bother me very much, because the PC community get to experience the games, and it's also not made my console irrelevant. Whereas if Sony eventually follows in the footsteps of Microsoft and they start doing day one releases on both PC and PlayStation 5, if that ever happens, then I will be pissed off, purely because I've bought a PlayStation 5 to play PlayStation exclusives, and if Sony's going to be planning on releasing them on PC day one, then I might as well have just used that £450 that I spent on the PS5. I may as well have used that on my brand new PC, because my brand new PC, I bought my brand new PC on the exact same day as my PlayStation 5. They both arrived at my house on the 19th of November. So if the PS5 becomes irrelevant because Sony's releasing all of their games on PC, then that will annoy me, because I could have just gotten an even more powerful PC and played the PlayStation games on PC. So if Sony ever does decide to do that, I think that will probably annoy me. But at this moment in time, with them releasing very old PS4 games on PC, that doesn't really bother me too much. But if they do start doing it day one, then I think that will annoy me, and I more than likely will not buy a PlayStation 6, because I might as well just upgrade the PC. Then I can play Microsoft games on PC. I could play all of my strategy games that are on PC, like Total War and so on and so forth. And I'll also be able to play my PlayStation games on PC. So it just makes sense, and then get whatever new console Nintendo releases. But yeah, I don't think Sony will ever do day one releases on PC, but who knows, Sony is doing a lot of very weird things lately, but yeah, I guess we'll find out in the future. But yeah, it doesn't bother me at this moment in time. Mr. Smith is the next set of questions, or as I like to call him, Mr. Caps Lock, and you'll see why in a second. Does it bother you how few views you get despite the effort you put into your channel? I think this is one of those questions where it depends on the day. I think the only time that it really bothers me that I'm not getting many views is when I've run out of videos. Because when I run out of videos, I'm then very, very stressed, because that means I need to record 3 or 4 videos in one day, and it has to be 3 or 4, because if I just record one, then I'm going to be stressed out again the next day because I only made one video. So I need to record like 3 or 4 videos. I need to edit them all that day, I need to render them all that day, and that's 4.5 hours of rendering, which means I then have to go to bed at like 2 or 3 in the morning. Then I need to get up early in the morning anyway, so then I'm tired the next day. I've got to upload them all that day, schedule them for the next 4 days. I've got to make all the thumbnails, and I just become really stressed out. And when the videos finally go live and I get like 5 views, that really pisses me off, because then I'm like, well, why the fuck did I bother stressing myself out so much? I think that is probably the only time that I really get annoyed at the low views, because, you know, when you're stressed out and you've put in all that effort, as he said in the comment, which I appreciate, I'm glad you see the effort, but when you put that amount of effort in and you've got that stressed out and then nobody watches, you just kind of feel like, well, what's the bloody point in doing this at all? So I think that's the only time that I genuinely get annoyed at the low views. And I think the only other time is possibly when there's like a really good PC game, which actually leads me into the next question by Mr. Smith. But if there's a cool PC game that I want to play that I don't play because I'm always rendering, that sort of annoys me, because I miss out on playing this PC game because my PC is always rendering. And then if it gets like 5 views, it's like, oh, I might as well just quit YouTube and play the PC games. But yeah, it's not very often that I run out of videos, so this is very, very rare. And I think if I work on something a bit more hard work, like T-Wolf, and that gets low views, that probably bothers me as well. But I don't really get that bothered by it. I suppose I should be very bothered by it, but I don't seem to care. I don't know, I feel like I should care. I'm making YouTube videos. The point is for people to watch, but I just don't really care. I don't know, it's weird. But the next question by Mr. Smith is, do you play any PC games? Well, not anymore. I've not really played any PC games besides World of Warcraft since 2014, because the PC is always rendering and I don't have 2 PCs. But some games that I did used to play a lot on PC, mostly strategy games, but it was Dawn of War, the first one, and all of the expansion packs, and I think Dawn of War 2 I might have played a little bit of. Age of Empires, I used to love that as well. There's actually a new one of that coming out soon, or it might already be out now, Age of Empires 4. Total War, I love Total War games, especially Total War Rome #1. I love that more than anything. I like the tycoon games, whether it's like Zoo Tycoon, Roller Coaster Tycoon. I like those kinds of games. Several MMOs I've played over the years that have been alright. Nothing's topped World of Warcraft for me, but I've not played Final Fantasy 14 yet, which is one I definitely need to play. Probably on PS5 actually, because then I can actually play it. But yeah, there's a few PC games that I play, just not anymore because I'm always rendering videos. Now the next question is from UTO, an absolute legend from the PlayStation forums, and their question is, how are you doing? Now this question is very similar to the question that I got from Steve King, and it's basically the same answer. I'm doing better in some regards, but I'm still really struggling with this overwhelming feeling of worthlessness. Feeling like there's no purpose for me to be alive anymore. And I know it does sound really dark when I say it, and I don't want people to worry about me because I'm not going to do anything stupid, but I really struggle with it. I wake up in the morning and then I just sort of look at the ceiling and I'm like, why? What is the point in BwolfTheWolf? What is the point in David being here? That's what I think every single day. And plus there's been other things that I've already spoke about that I have noticed, information that I've found out that I didn't want to find out about, my own fault really. And that stuff has all, which I can't talk about, that stuff has also made me feel even more worthless. I think it is primarily that is making me feel worthless, you know. Just when you know you put so much effort into a relationship and you tried so hard to sort it, and then you find a bunch of stuff out that happened. It's not easy to talk about, but I'm doing okay. Just this horrible feeling in my mind all the time of worthlessness. But other than that, I am genuinely doing a lot better. You know, I've got my schedule that I follow every day, whether it's working out, whether it's at work, whether it's making YouTube videos, all the other things I do. I've got my schedule, so you know I'm always busy. So I thankfully I don't have too much time to sit alone and think about shit, you know. But yeah, I appreciate you asking though, UTO. You're an absolute legend. Make sure you go and follow UTO on Twitter. I think he's at Stabbed Jawa. You know Jawa from Star Wars? Well, I think it's Stabbed Jawa. I'll put a link to it in the comments below. I'll pin it. But he does a lot of really good gaming photos, so make sure you give him a follow. Now these final two questions come from somebody named David Banks. Now one of these questions is rather personal, so that's why I saved these questions for the end, because I didn't want to answer it at the start and sort of kill the mood of the rest of the video. So apologies that I'm answering your question last, David, but I'm going to do my absolute best to give you an honest answer and hopefully help you to feel a little bit better. But I'm going to answer your second question first. Now the second question from David Banks is, do you still plan on making those mental health videos you mentioned in your future video? I definitely still do plan on making those mental health videos. I feel like I've got a lot of things that I could suggest to people to help them, whether they're having a really bad time dealing with their inner critic, whether they're having a horrible time dealing with depression and anxiety. I feel like I've got a lot of stuff that I can say that could hopefully help people. I did record the first episode, I think it was back in March of this year, but I wasn't happy with how it turned out, so then I deleted it. I re-recorded it again in April, and once again I wasn't happy how it turned out, so I deleted it again, and since then I've not tried again. So I will do it. I'll definitely make some mental health videos, but I think it won't be done probably until next year sometime, maybe January 2022. We'll have to see, but they need to be flawless when I make them, because I don't want to give like the wrong information or not say something correctly, especially when somebody clicks on my video hoping for help. I want to make sure they get that help. So I will do it, but I just got to make sure I'm also in a good place mentally as well, because otherwise the videos don't turn out as good as I want them to be. But now we are going to answer the big question from David. So the final question from David Banks is, hey man, this is a rather personal question, so it's fine if you don't want to answer. Me and my girlfriend of 5 years broke up 3 months ago, and I still feel like hell every day. How long did it take for you to get over your ex and stop thinking about her? Sorry if this is too personal, man. Congrats on the 6k subs. Thank you. How long did it take for you to get over your ex and stop thinking about her? Well, before I get into my answers, I'll be completely honest. It's been 2 years and a month since Samantha left me, and despite it being a very long time, I still struggle a lot with getting over it. Like, there are still times where I could be walking around at work late at night. I'm on my own. I've got time to think about things because nobody's in the school. It's dark outside. It's just me alone with my thoughts and a mop. And there are times, like maybe once a month, where I just start thinking about the relationship and stuff, and I do end up in tears. You know, I do end up crying. I'm not gonna lie. I do end up crying. It's been 2 years and a month, and I still cry sometimes. And there's been several occasions where I've had, like, every single night in a row, I've had these really, really annoying nightmares where, well, they're not even nightmares. They're bad dreams where I feel like I'm in the dream, I'm trying to speak to her, but she's not listening to me. It's like I'm not there, like I'm invisible. And it's a really frustrating kind of dream. And I get so worked up in the dream because I'm trying to speak to her, but she's not listening, that sometimes I wake up with tears in my eyes. Like, I cry in a dream, but then I wake up in tears, you know? So I still do struggle, you know. I know I hop in front of this camera every single day, and I'm doing all my jokes and I'm laughing and smiling and that, but that's acting, isn't it? You know, you're in front of the camera, you've got to start acting, you're making a video. But I do still struggle, you know, so I want you to know that, just so you don't start feeling bad that you are struggling, because I feel like some people feel like they need to recover immediately from a heartbreak or from any kind of loss. You don't need to recover instantly. You take as long as you fucking need, mate. You want to be sad for 10 years, that's up to you. Obviously, if you're still sad after 10 years where it's like affecting your everyday life, you should probably speak to a professional, but there's no rule to how long you can be sad about something. There's no rule to it. You take as long as you need, matey. But I think, how long did it take for me to get over it? I mean, after saying all that, you probably think I'm not over it, but I think getting over it is a very common misconception. I think the best way that you can describe it is it's how long did you take to get through it. That's the best way of explaining it. You never get over it. You know, heartbreak is a permanent scar on the heart. You never get through it. It's like you have to just fight your way through it. It's a constant battle. I think the best way that I can explain it, when you first go through the heartbreak, it is like there is a very angry man that breaks into your house and punches you straight in the fucking heart as hard as he can. Now, obviously, it hurts like absolute hell. It's debilitating. It ruins your day. Now, after a year or two, this man, he is still breaking into your house every single day, and he's still punching you straight in the heart. But because it's been 2 years of feeling this punch every single day, you kind of get used to the pain and you learn to live with it. It's not as debilitating as it used to be. So that's the best way I can explain it. It's like every single day that pain hits you exactly the same, but you learn to live with it, you know? You learn to live with that irritating pain. If someone come up to you every day and whipped you, after a few years it wouldn't affect you as much as it did on day one, would it? That's the best way that I can explain it. But the pain is still there. So even though it's been a few years and you're now functioning as a normal human again, that pain's still there. You're still feeling that punch in the fucking heart every day. That's the best way I can explain it. So the more and more and more time goes by, you just get used to that bloody pain, and it just becomes part of your everyday life, you know? That's the best way I can explain it. So even though I still struggle, and I still have really bad days and bad nights, I am a lot better than I was in 2019. I feel that pain, but it don't ruin me completely, if you get what I'm saying. I'm now used to living with that pain. So that's the best thing I can explain to you. Within like a year, mate, maybe less, you know, within a year you will be feeling yourself. Give it 9 more months, mate, and I think you'll be feeling a lot more yourself. And also, when you pass the 1 year anniversary of the breakup, you also don't look back anymore, because when it's the first year of the breakup, you're going to be saying to yourself, oh, this time last year we were doing this time last year we were doing this. Once a year's gone by, this time last year you weren't even together. So I think once a year passes, that's when hopefully before then, because no one wants to suffer for too long, but I think a year maybe is when I started to feel a bit more myself. But then I found out things I didn't want to find out, and that's when the whole worthless feeling started for me. But hopefully that don't happen for you. But I think I hope this answer makes sense. I feel like I've made a really shit answer. I feel like I've made a right pig's ear of this. I'm going to give you 4 tips. These will help you more than anything I just bloody said. I feel like everything I just said was pointless, but the 4 tips I will give you is, put the phone down. Firstly, if you haven't done so already, you need to accept that the relationship is over. If you're still holding on to hope that you're going to get back together, that is going to be extremely damaging, and that is going to cause way more problems than not. So if you haven't done so already, you may have already have done this, but if you haven't done so already, accept that it's permanently over. I mean, yeah, there's always the possibility that one day things could change, but you just got to accept it's over. You're never getting back together ever again. That's the first bit of advice I can give you, because I held on to hope for half a fucking year, and it destroyed me more and more and more and more as time went by. So don't hold on to hope. Accept it's over and start focusing on yourself. So that's my first tip for you. My second tip will be, you need to find yourself some new hobbies, because you're most likely feeling quite depressed at the moment, and one of the worst things about depression is losing that passion for things that you normally enjoy. So you might be sitting at home a lot, not really partaking in any of the things that you used to partake in, because you just don't feel it anymore. So find yourself some new hobbies. Doesn't matter what they are, anything that you've ever been slightly interested in, go and start taking part in it. Learn a new instrument, whatever you want, do that, because that will be very useful for you. And the second benefit to that is, if you've been with your girlfriend for 5 years, you most likely shared a lot of your previous hobbies with your girlfriend. So when you do your hobbies that you normally enjoy, even if you're not depressed, it's going to bring up memories of your ex, and you don't want stuff like that. So try and find yourself some brand new hobbies. It doesn't matter what they are, find yourself some brand new hobbies. Now, the third tip I will give you is to understand that you are not alone. And I don't mean in that very irritating way, oh, everybody goes through heartbreak bullshit, because that doesn't make you feel better whatsoever. But understand you're not alone. Because I know that when you lose your intimate partner, you feel so alone, because you share everything with them. You know, there's so much you share with that person, and then they're gone. And it's like this fucking horrible black hole in your soul, ain't it? You just feel like there's no one. You could have, like in my case, I had so many people messaging me, more people that had messaged me than any other point in my life, but I still felt so alone. So just understand that you're not alone, okay? You really need to get that in your head, because when you feel alone, that's when your mind will start taking you to a dark place. So understand you're not alone. You've got your family that love you. You've got your friends that love you. You've got any other communities that you are a part of that love you. And even if you think you don't, I'm going to tell you right now, I fucking love you. And I mean that, I love you right now. And I'm not lying, I'm telling the damn truth, mate. So there you go. You got someone that loves you. So don't never feel like you are alone. And if you ever need to speak, you know, you can always hit me up on Twitter or Facebook and that. I'll try and reply as quick as possible, but just remember you're not alone. And the fourth bit of advice, the most important bit of advice, don't get in a rebound relationship. Have some self-respect and don't get into a rebound relationship. Ignore people that say there's plenty of fish in the sea. Ignore people that say, oh, the best way to get over them is to get with someone else. It's bollocks. Don't do it. Focus on yourself. That's what you need to do, mate. Focus on yourself. Just find something that you want to achieve and start working towards that. Don't worry about finding another relationship for a while. It's not important. Focus on you for now. Don't get in a rebound relationship, because it will just cause more problems and it won't work out well in the end. Might be good for a few months, but in the end it's going to go wrong. So don't do that either. But that's going to be my answer for this question. I'm sorry if it's bad. I tried my best. It's very hard to talk about, because I'm trying to hold back tears because I'm thinking about shit while I'm saying it. And I know how you feel as well, and I can feel the pain that you feel. So it upsets me too. But hopefully this answer helped you with your struggle on that. And feel free to, you know, ask me anything on Twitter or in the comments if you don't mind it being public. But yeah. That's going to be it for this Q&A Wolf and Wolvettes. Hopefully you've enjoyed my answers, and yeah, I will see you all in whatever I play next, probably my scary Halloween game if I do it. But yeah, like, share, and join the pack today.